So we have an update on the Unity Commission that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders have set up with some of their, respective people. Yeah, John Kerry, for example, was on Biden's Unity Task Force, and AOC was on Bernie's, and they came together to work on climate policy. They worked on 6 different issues, or overarching issues, categories, and they just released a list of their recommendations. It's over 110 pages. Now, last night, the news broke that they finished, but they didn't actually release the list itself. Like, the news agencies did not say, here's the over 100 pages of policy recommendations. They only had some brief things here and there that they dropped in the various articles explaining some of what's in there. Here are some of the few details that we actually have. They want 0 carbon emissions by 2035, which apparently moved up Biden's previous line for 0 carbon emissions by 15 years. They want some police reform executive orders. They didn't describe exactly what those ones are. And they want a moratorium on deportations for 100 days. Now, I will say, the 0 carbon emissions thing, I always find that so curious, because it's like, yeah, we all agree the goal is 0 carbon emissions. But putting that arbitrary line on it, it's like, that's not the way this stuff works. It's like, we need to do massive investment in the technologies of the future right now, and then just hope to get there ASAP to 0 carbon emissions. You can't set a line of 15 years and then 14 years from now we've done nothing, and then it's like, but by next year we'll have no carbon emissions. That's not the way it works. So I always find the line thing weird. And listen, ultimately, I think that this Unity Task Force is useless, because they come up with the platform and then they're just going to ignore the platform. They do it all the time. Like, oh, here's what I say I'm in favor of, and then they just don't do those things. So it's just a way to appease people who actually care about policy, and then once he gets in office, he's just like, I'm going to do whatever I want. That's the way that these things work. Now, here's what's not in the list of recommendations, apparently, according to these articles. No Green New Deal. No defunding the police. I'm not surprised on the defunding the police thing at all. No abolishing ICE. I'm not surprised on that one either. No Medicare for all. Biden was adamant that we have to expand the Affordable Care Act. The reasonable thing is to expand the Affordable Care Act into Medicare for all, but no, he just wants to expand it and in a nondescript way, and just make it slightly better, even though we still had 28 million people without health insurance. So it's not good enough, period. But anyway, the one that I actually hurt the most, in my opinion, because this is one that I actually was holding out hope that he might improve on. No legalizing marijuana. Apparently he was adamant on that front too. So listen, it is kind of a worst case scenario in many ways, because Biden has such a big lead in the polls now. They know he has a big lead in the polls now. And they kind of know that they don't need the left. They know they have enough already. And if they continue to jack those senior voters from Trump, they think we're perfectly comfortable doing this. So basically, some of the biggest issues for the left, Green New Deal, Medicare for all, legalizing marijuana, he's just like, no, I don't agree. So it's a tough position for the left to be in. Electorally defeated with Bernie. I think in many ways his campaign really was terrible after Super Tuesday. And then he bent the knee without guarantees. And then now Biden is perfectly free to just be like, yeah, I'm not going to do the most important things that you guys care about. So he's running as a moderate Republican, and that, at this point, it appears like is good enough in the Trump era to get him a W. And the left is, yet again sort of ignored and just left on the side of the road. Now, people would argue, and this is a fair point, that, well, at least Biden's going through the motions to make it look like he cares. Whereas Hillary pushed it was just a middle finger to the left, like almost openly. Whereas with Biden's like, hey, at least I'm going to give you the courtesy of BSing you. Hey, I created a commission. Hey, sure, let's have AOC and some of the others on the left Like, we want to work with you. We're not going to give you the finger. We care a lot about what you have to say. Some would say, hey, at least he's going through those motions. Okay, but I actually think it's debatable as to which is better. At least Hillary was honest about hating the left. With Biden, it's like, I'm going to BS you and pretend I like you, but I don't like you. So it's like the liar who's doing the window dressing or the truth teller who's just wrong on the face of it. There's a debate in my mind as to which one is better. So who knows? But I will leave you with one last piece of information, which is actually good news, and I've said this on the show a lot of times. I hope maybe I had some impact on this because some of the people who are on that Unity Commission know of the show and maybe watch the show from time to time, but I kept repeating, and you guys will remember this if you're longtime listeners of the show. I kept bringing up that Bernie could have gotten real tangible concessions from Biden in the form of guaranteed executive orders within the first 100 days. And he could have used that and basically gone to the left and said, hey, look what I got here. I got 10 guaranteed executive orders that are actually awesome. You want to leave these on the table? Fine, but you're leaving good things on the table if you don't vote for Biden. They could have done that. They didn't do that. But as part of this, Unity Commission, apparently one of the ideas that they came out with is Biden says he's in favor of a Buy American executive order, which was one of the things I was saying he should come out in favor of a Buy American executive order. Now, there is a difference. The difference is I was saying I wanted a guarantee from Biden of an executive order on it within the first 100 days. We did not get a guarantee within the first 100 days, but we got it as part of the Unity Commission. So I think it could be ignored or not, but he is saying, hey, I'm in favor of a Buy American executive order now. And I got the best news to add on top of that is Trump is fuming over that. Trump is fuming that Biden outflanked him on an issue involving working people. Because he thought, oh, no, see, this is my job. I go out there and hit NAFTA and hit TPP and stuff. And so what is Biden going to counter with? He's going to say, hey, I bailed out GM. I was part of the Obama administration. We bailed out General Motors. You're going to tell me about working people? I bailed out General Motors. Get out of here with that. But beyond that, Trump has not signed the Buy America executive order that he said he was going to sign. He kept calling for it. Oh, we need to do this. We need to do this. It's an executive order that says the federal government can only purchase from American companies. That would massively help U.S. businesses and workers here. Massively. Because right now we buy from all over the world. And so if you guarantee, and the federal government buys a lot of stuff. So just that one executive order is great for jobs here. Trump acted like he was going to sign it. He never signed it. Instead, he did a symbolic Buy America week. It was all symbolism. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's suck off America and act like, oh, our workers are so great. But it's just, a week of us sucking each other off. That's it. Biden just outflanked Trump on that, at least in rhetoric, at least. Who knows if he'll actually sign the executive order. Like I said, Bernie didn't get any guarantees. It's just in the Unity Commission. But he did say, I'm down with the Buy American executive order. Hey, is it possible that somebody who watches this show and heard me scream about that for a month said, what is on the commission and said, let's do this? And everybody was like, that's a great idea. And again, this was the one thing that triggered Trump, where he was like, oh, damn it, you outflanked me on trade. People should listen to me more often. I don't know why you guys don't listen to me all the time. Obviously, everything I say is brilliant. Duh. But no, this is actually good. That's the one part of this that is a little bit of a silver lining. The part that hurt the most, as I said, was no legalizing marijuana. Because, listen, I totally agree that mass incarceration is the new Jim Crow. We had slavery, we had Jim Crow and segregation, and then the outgrowth of that was mass incarceration. And Nixon's White House admitted it. Yes, we wanted to lock up the undesirables because they were never going to support us politically. So we wanted to lock up the hippie white people, and we wanted to lock up the communities of color. How do we do that? Find a way to criminalize that lifestyle. So marijuana, criminalize it, and then focus on those communities. So it is the new Jim Crow. We jail more people than anywhere else. For stupid reasons. So if you're not talking about legalizing recreational marijuana and freeing every nonviolent drug offender, then you are supportive of the new Jim Crow. Joe Biden is supportive of the new Jim Crow. And that's unacceptable. That's really sad because I thought this is one area where it's possible he's like, you know what? Fine. I knew he wasn't going to say it on Medicare for All. I knew there were many left issues that we care about that he was going to be like, piss off. But I thought there was a chance. Especially since the guy who wrote the crime bill got a lot of crap now for the crime bill, and there's this whole mea culpa, that everybody had to do if they supported the crime bill. Turns out, in Biden's heart of hearts, he really is tough on crime. He really is a law and order kind of guy. And he really is like a moderate Republican. So he's like, no, I don't agree with legalizing marijuana. That's a big one that's bad, man. That's terrible. And there's no putting lipstick on that pig, that's for damn sure.